a land dreamt by the sky. Breathe in. Somewhere east of memory and west of time, China lies veiled, not in cities or neon haze, but in the forgotten language of stone, mist, and silence. Here, the earth folds into itself, twisting mountains into spires, rivers into serpents, and valleys into vanishing echoes. The wind writes poems across the dunes of the Gobi. The clouds cradle mirrored lakes like secrets, and somewhere in the cracks of the karst, the world dreams with eyes wide open. This is not the China of maps. This is the China of myth, carved by nature's hand and hidden in plain sight. A land so unearthly, so ethereal, it feels more like a memory of paradise than a place on earth. Let go. Let it take you, past logic, beyond noise, into the raw, untouched poetry of unseen China. High in the cradle of the Altay Mountains, where the air tastes of pine and the wind carries the hush of ages, lies a lake so still, so clear, it seems to hold the sky itself. Kanas. Its surface, pure, glacial, infinite, reflects the world above like a mirror left by the gods. Here, the line between earth and sky dissolves. The clouds do not float over the lake. They drift within it. Encircled by boreal forests and guarded by snow-capped peaks, Kanas is a sanctuary sculpted by ice and time. The pines, dark and tall, stand like sentinels along the shore. In autumn, they burst into flames of amber and gold, a silent fire dancing across the water's edge. Mist rolls slowly over the surface, pale and spectral, as if the lake itself is breathing. Every ripple feels like a secret, every echo, a memory. There are whispers of ancient creatures beneath, but the true myth here is not what hides in the depths. It is the feeling, the profound stillness that settles over your soul. This is where silence deepens, where solitude becomes sacred, where the cold does not bite, it awakens. Kanas Lake does not speak loudly. It simply reflects everything we forget to notice until we are quiet enough to see it. High in the mountains where clouds linger and time moves like water, a valley unfolds, tiered, crystalline, and impossibly serene. This is Jiuzhaigou, a place not built, but whispered into being by water and stone. Here, rivers do not rush. They descend in gentle steps. Waterfalls thread through forests like silver ribbons, cascading down terraces carved by mineral and time. They don't roar. They dance, delicate and continuous, like breath exhaled by the earth itself. The lakes, impossibly clear, impossibly still, shimmer in shades of turquoise, jade, and sapphire. Fallen branches lie beneath the surface, untouched, preserved in silence, as if the water has chosen to remember rather than erase. Above, forests sprawl in a dream of color. In autumn, every tree becomes a flame. Gold, crimson, amber, painting the valley with the brilliance of a world shedding its skin. Reflected in the glass-blue lakes, the forest becomes two, one rooted in soil, the other suspended in water and light. There is no single path through Jiuzhaigou, only moments, fleeting, glowing, and hushed. The wind carries the hush of water over stone. The sunlight dapples through leaves and mist, and the air holds something ancient, a kind of quiet that wraps around you and says, nothing needs to happen here but wonder. Jiuzhaigou is not a landscape, it's a living lullaby, a staircase of waterfalls leading you deeper into stillness. Vertical stone pillars rise from the forest floor like the frozen breath of the earth. Tall, slender, and impossibly ancient. They do not stand. They hover. Wrapped in swirling mist, their jagged crowns drift above the canopy like sentinels of another world. Each monolith is a monument to time, carved by wind, rain, and the slow, relentless rhythm of erosion. What remains is a forest, not of trees, but of stone, silent towers that pierce the heavens and vanish into cloud. The air here is thick with vapor and mystery. Ferns cling to cliff faces, their fronds soaked in morning dew. Moss weaves emerald tapestries across jagged walls, and deep within the chasms, the wind moves like a whispered legend, echoing softly between the ancient spires. Light filters through the fog in ribbons, golden, pale, and fleeting. As the sun rises, shadows stretch long and slow across the cliffs, turning stone to silhouette and vapor to veil. The mountains breathe. They shift with the clouds. They vanish and return. This is not a landscape. It is a living dream, a place where gravity forgets itself, where silence speaks louder than words, where the earth reveals its most surreal design. No path here is straight. No view is ordinary. Only the wild vertical wonder of a realm that feels too fantastical to be real. And yet, it stands perfectly still. Zhangjiajie, a sky forest carved by time, a myth made stone. There are places where the land forgets gravity, where stone rises like breath, and clouds no longer drift above, but through. This is Huangshan, the Yellow Mountains, a dream folded into granite and mist. Here, jagged peaks spear the sky, their edges worn by wind, rain, and 1,000 silent years. Pine trees cling to their sides like calligraphy, bent, twisted, patient, shaped not by the hand of man, but by storms and seasons. The mountains wear mist like a robe. Veils of cloud spill through valleys, crest ridges, and pour over cliffs as if the sky itself were flowing downhill. The peaks appear and disappear, surfacing like islands in a ghostly sea. Stand among them at dawn, and time dissolves. The rising sun spills gold into the fog. Shadows stretch and retreat across stone. The world below vanishes into vapor. Only silence remains, vast and weightless, broken only by the echo of wind through branches and the distant cry of a hidden bird. This is not a view, it is a moment suspended, a canvas painted by light, weather, and waiting. Huangshan does not shout, it drifts like breath on glass, a high realm where clouds kiss stone and the earth seems to pause mid-thought. In a corner of Sichuan, where clouds drift low and time climbs slow, 4 peaks rise, sharp, solemn, and eternal. This is Siguniangshan, the 4 sisters. Their summits slash the sky like silver blades, jagged, snow-laced, crowned in cloud. They do not simply tower, they watch. Each peak stands like a sentinel, carved by ice and wind into quiet queens of stone. Beneath them, the land softens. Alpine meadows roll out like golden carpets, trembling beneath the breath of high-altitude wind. Wildflowers flicker like stars fallen to earth, blue, yellow, crimson, fleeting notes in a vast, untouched symphony. The air here is thin and wild. You feel it, in your lungs, in your bones, in the hush between bird calls. Glaciers cling to ridgelines, valleys cradle silence, and marmots whistle from the rocks, their cries echoing off granite walls like a language only the mountains understand. Mist curls around the sisters' shoulders. When sunlight breaks through, it doesn't shine, it anoints. The peaks shimmer with a light that feels older than fire, older than memory. Siguniangshan does not boast. It simply is, untouched, unmoved, unspeakably vast. A cathedral of stone, a monument to solitude, a place where the earth remembers how to be wild. Here, the earth forgets its weight, and the sky, its ceiling. Chaka Salt Lake stretches outward in a silence so pure it echoes. A mirror of the heavens pressed flat against the world. Shallow water coats the vast salt plain like liquid glass. Each ripple stilled, each reflection pristine. Clouds drift beneath your feet. The horizon dissolves. There is no above, no below, only symmetry, infinite and still. The ground crunches softly beneath each step, salt underfoot, crystalline and white. A terrain shaped by wind, sun, and the slow alchemy of minerals. The air tastes of metal and clarity. The scent is clean, ancient, untouched. Light behaves differently here. At sunrise, the lake glows like polished silver. By noon, it becomes sky, impossible to separate from the real. Even your shadow seems confused, suspended between two worlds. To walk here is to enter a dream half-drawn, a floating thought, a living mirage, a place where time vanishes, and the only movement is the breath of clouds gliding through themselves. Chaka is not a destination. It is a pause, a place where earth turns to sky and silence becomes art. Here, in the dry heart of Gansu, the earth reveals a fever dream, a canvas of color warped by time and scorched by sun. Zhangye Danxia. This is no ordinary desert. This is where stone burns in silence. Mountains ripple like frozen flames, streaked in crimson, copper, violet, and gold. The land undulates in waves, as if a sleeping ocean of fire was suddenly turned to stone. Every ridge, every crease, tells a story written in mineral and myth. The wind dances softly across the surface, brushing over iron-rich layers shaped over millions of years. No trees, no rivers, only raw, exposed geology, alive with color and silence. At sunrise, the hills glow like hot coals under a breath of gold. At dusk, they dim into embered shadows as the last light slides across their curves like a whispered goodbye. It's a place where the sun seems to hesitate, as if even it must pause to stare. There are no sharp peaks here, only soft, surreal folds, as though the earth itself melted, then froze mid-motion. A landscape born not of chaos, but of artistry, slow, deliberate, and utterly unreal. Step too close, and your sense of reality bends. It doesn't feel like walking on rock. It feels like wandering through a hallucination left behind by the planet's ancient heart. Zhangye Danxia is not just seen, it is felt, in the stillness, in the color, in the deep, wordless wonder of standing on the edge of Earth's forgotten dream. This is where silence finds its voice, where the land breathes in gold and exhales sound. The Gobi Desert. Endless dunes ripple toward the horizon, not soft, but sculpted. Each ridge shaped by time and wind, frozen mid-motion like waves in a sea made of light. The sand here is alive. When the breeze stirs just right, it sings. A low, haunting hum that seems to come from within the earth itself. Not quite a song, not quite a whisper, but something in between, as if the planet were remembering its own dream. Daylight sets the dunes ablaze, a blaze not of fire, but of color, bronze, ochre, and shadow. Each crest holds the sun, each hollow cradles darkness. And as evening falls, the sky deepens. Stars spill like silver dust, blanketing the desert in galaxies. No cities interrupt, no lights remain. Only the hush of night, the slow drift of wind, and the quiet shifting of sand. There are no footprints here, only patterns made by light, erased by dawn. The Gobi is not just vast, it is eternal. A cathedral of wind and sun where the earth hums its deepest notes and asks nothing but stillness in return.